playing in church is how I learned how to play violin by ear. And I think that from that experience, that's just kind of how I started to just make up my own violin melodies, and I would just play to anything I hear that I would want to learn. Making music was a way for me to escape working 2 jobs a day, and I didn't really have that much money to go out and do things and buy things for myself. So I just ended up always in my room fucking with shit. And I would just be clapping and recording it, and I'll go get a spoon and oh, that's a nice sound. And I kind of got obsessed, and I had this drum kit, and I would go around the house and oh, I like that sound. This is a nice sound. And I would just record it, and then I would record my claps. And that's basically how I made the song come my way. There's a lot of silverware in there and a lot of claps. And basically just had a studio in my bedroom. I would just make beats and then put them on SoundCloud and be like, yeah, that makes me feel good. Now it's time to go to work. I used that improv whole recording, and then I kind of listen to it every day, and then I try to make a stronger story and narrative, because that was the one thing I felt was lacking in my songwriting, storytelling. I usually just kind of put out a feeling, but now I'm more confrontational in life, so now it's being applied to my music. I want to be a producer. I want to produce for artists. I don't want to sing. I don't want to be a solo act. I've always wanted to be in a screamo band and just play violin, be the hot violinist just playing violin while someone's like, oh, and I'm just sometimes screaming.
All that nonsense, one get back with ya. Don't got time for snitches, no. You're pulling me down, thought you was.
Females making beats and females producing and engineering. I'm just going off of my own experience, but I've had a couple of studio sessions in LA and even in Ohio, and I've never been in a session with a female engineer or even a female producer. And it's not saying that, I'm not saying that there's not a lot of females doing that, but my own perspective, my own life, I don't see that. So I want to see more of it, and the only way you can make change is to be the change. So I just want to have a center or have a label where women can learn how to produce, or just come and be in a safe space where they feel like their ideas are valid and they can be a part of the production even if they don't know how to yet. And also, I have talked to a couple of female musicians who feel when they're in the studio with a guy and they're making music, sometimes it's a little they don't come out with the final product that they really, really wanted. And sometimes their voices aren't heard. So off of just personal experience, I guess I'm saying that it's not, in my world, I don't see enough of it. I would like to see more of it. And yeah, because women rock, and they should be in the studio sessions making, hit songs. 5-year plan is to have my own label and to produce for a lot of women.
I call it African November. Don't wait for me, summer. Don't wait for me.
So my mom gave me the nickname Sudan because I did not like Britney at the time. I was just Mom, come on. Give me something swaggy, I need a cool nickname or something. And I was actually gonna name myself Tokyo Moon. And she was just no, that doesn't make sense. No, no. How about Sudan? I really think that name's pretty. And I was okay, yeah. So then next thing you know, everyone's calling me Sudan, and I'm just going by it. And it's a childhood nickname now. But it's really kind of weird that I didn't know anything about the violin culture there until she named me that. And then when I moved to LA, I started to discover there's a whole world of African fiddling in Sudan. They play the violin. And when I started to just explore the roots of the violin and how the one I play is kind of made by Italians, but people in Sudan, they play it their own way. And even in Czech, there's this violinist that I really love. she's playing the violin, and it just sounds crazy. And the Irish jigs that I learned when I was like 10 years old, you know, it's just kind of interesting how all of that music is the same though. The folk, fiddle, traditional music, they all kind of have this like sound, and it's basically blues or something to me. It sounds like blues. And I basically think it's important to just, I've always wondered what it'd be like to go to Africa, because like if you're African American, it's just kind of interesting, like growing up in America, if you're an African American and you've been in America, but when you have to like write down your ethnicity, you have to select African American. So whenever I did that, I always be like, I've never even been to Africa. Isn't that weird, you know? That I call myself, I'm half of this, but I've never been there. So it just only makes sense to go, right, you know? It's definitely important for anybody to just be aware of where they're from and their roots and the culture of it, you know? So I just think that's cool, like, because if we all become aware of ourselves, maybe we'll just be better people and treat each other better.
And the free throws.
When I first got signed to Stone Throw Records, I was in the middle of working with the Tyla Fund, which is like a nonprofit organization started by Yusuf Tyla. And his family basically has a school in Ghana, and they strive to just like provide for the low-income families there and try to incorporate like creative programs. And you know, their first project, they saved up their first school bus, and the second project I joined on and thought it would be a cool idea to do like a 3-day music production workshop. So we brought out some computers and some electronic drum kits to the school, and we basically kind of just made music in front of them, and they were able to like mess around. And yeah, it was kind of like interesting that they were already really good at drumming, just regular drums. So once I told them like your finger is like your left drumstick and your right finger is like your right drumstick, they just like went crazy and made a lot of cool music. And it's definitely been proven that if you have more creative based programs in school, you're just gonna do better in all subjects. So that was just the whole point of it, and it definitely was a good outcome. And when I was out there, I shot my first music video too at the same time. So it was just like, whew, this is too much. And it was also my first time leaving the country, going to Africa.
And I can't escape, I get blown away when you come my way. And I can't escape, I get blown away when you come.
Everyone loves music, but scientifically, music releases endorphins, just like exercising does, and eating chocolate, and being in love. All those things, we need to be doing those things every day and not really stressing ourselves out on like the societal rules of just kind of having to like work the rat race, 9 to 5, go home, like contribute. But really it should be more about us self-expressing ourselves and coming together to worship, to love, to dance, to sing. Like that's our natural instinct. I believe in self-care. I think that's the #1 thing we can do to like make the world a better place, because it starts within yourself. So I'm really into self-care and to basically being informed of like products and how there can be harmful products, and like your shampoo, your deodorant. I order a lot of my products from like this place called Holistic Science, and it's just all natural essential oils and things to like clean yourself and to just like soothe yourself. That's gonna just promote a better you. And working out every day, that's really good for you. And before we even get deep into all of these other issues, these worldly issues, we gotta take care of ourselves first so we can like put out good energy. And that's what I've been really focused on these days, like self-care.
And I can't escape, I get blown away when you come my way, when you come